UFC 303 Pereira Prochazka 2, the rematch will happen on June 22nd. We're going to be predicting every single fight on this UFC pay-per-view. Obviously, we got that main event. We got Diego Lopes getting a huge step up. Smith and Dolidze stepping up on short notice. I mean, I don't know what's been happening with that fight. That fight's really cursed. We got Payton and Garry. I'm going to gloss over that one a little bit. And then a very solid prelim card as well. We are going to be doing every single fight prediction for every single fight on this card. I don't know what my grammar was in that last little second there. But yeah, every single fight we're going to be predicting right now. And if you do want all of the bets I am going to be making for this UFC 303 card, check the link down below in the description or that pinned comment. We also have my entire UFC rankings for every fighter in the UFC, which is a thing I like to do. It's pretty fun as well. Let's get it started with the first fight in the bantamweight division. Ricky Simón, Vinicius Oliveira in the bantamweight division. Vinicius Oliveira, very young, not really, but 28 years old, taking on the 31-year-old Ricky Simón, who is quite the veteran of the UFC. 8 wins, 4 losses, on a little bit of a losing streak here, losing a main event with Yadong Song, and I believe a co-main. No, it was not the co-main. Just another main card fight against Mario Bautista. But before that, dude was doing amazing. Beating Ray Borg, guys like Rafael Assunção, and as well Jack Shore. Has a win over Merab Dvalishvili in his debut, which is aged very well. But if you do know a fight with Ricky Simón is going to end up in a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of grappling, control time, ground and pound, that type of stuff. Obviously, he can strike with you. He has okay striking, as we saw in the Rafael Assunção fight. Does he want to go out there and strike with a guy like Vinicius Oliveira? I don't think so. I expect this fight to definitely be mixed in a lot of wrestling with Ricky Simón. I think Vinicius is going to do everything in his power to keep this one on the feet. I don't think he's going to be able to. I think this is too big of a step up, too fast. I got Ricky Simón by unanimous decision. Ray Tsuruya and Carlos Hernandez in the flyweight division. Ray Tsuruya is a great prospect from Japan. A lot of good ones coming into the UFC recently, and especially in this UFC flyweight division. He's coming off a TKO on the road to UFC against Yanis. I don't know how to say that name, but he was able to get the TKO win there. The only guy that's ever finished him was him, so very impressive there. Obviously, before that, had a few more road to the UFC wins, and then all finishes. The dude is going out there to take you down, out-wrestle you, ground and pound the heck out of you, get your back, and submit you. I do believe Carlos Hernandez is good. He's got good striking, and he's got an okay jiu-jitsu game. He just doesn't have enough threats here for Ray Tsuruya. Not enough power on the feet to really deter Ray from going for the takedown. So I think Ray is going to be unbothered by the shots coming his way, and he's going to land the takedowns on Carlos Hernandez. I do believe he's going to just keep on ground and pounding until eventually he gets really close to a finish with the ground and pound. And again, he's going to catch his back like Alan Nascimento did. I do have Mr. Ray Tsuruya by submission in round number 2 due to a rear naked choke. Martin Buday and Andrei Arlovski in the heavyweight division. I am going to go Martin Buday to win this fight. I'm really hoping if Andrei does lose this fight, which I think he will, that he does retire from MMA. He's 45 years old, has the longest career in the heavyweight division, one of the most wins in UFC history, regardless of weight class. He has so many records, but Martin Buday, he's not like super good. He's not like a world beater or anything like that. But I do believe Martin Buday is going to make this fight look a little bit easy. I think he's going to clinch him up. I think he's going to do very good work there. And I think he might even mix in a few takedowns. But I think Martin, not even with the striking, but in the clinch and with the wrestling, has what it takes to control Andrei there and just land the better shots. And I have Martin Buday by unanimous decision. Michelle Waterson-Gomez, I don't really remember when the Gomez got at it, taking on Gillian Robertson. Age discrepancy is pretty huge. Michelle is on a very big losing streak, hasn't won a fight in almost 4 years. Her main event with Angela Hill, a lot of people thought she lost that one as well, but she's fought some beast after that. Marina Rodriguez, Amanda Lemos. Luana Pinheiro was a really close fight, then she got knocked out by Marina Rodriguez in the rematch. I don't really know why they did the rematch. That was a little bit weird. Now she's taking on more of a jiu-jitsu practitioner in Gillian Robertson. Submitted Maria Agapova, submitted Piera Rodriguez, and then got the TKO on Polyana Viana, which is a solid win. But girls that are able to control her or defend her takedowns are able to beat her, like JJ Aldrich and like Tabitha Ricci. I don't believe Michelle will be able to defend those. I have Gillian Robertson getting this fight to the floor, and I think it's going to be close. I don't think there's going to be a submission here, like, I'm assuming, yep, 70, what did that say? 72% of people are saying. I do have Gillian just grinding this one on the ground. I think Michelle will make some mistakes, get close to getting submitted. I do have this one going all the way. Gillian by a 29-28 decision. Payton Talbott, Yanis Ghemmouri in the bantamweight division. If you know anything about betting, don't bet on Payton Talbott. He's a minus 1,600 favorite. My God, we haven't even seen this dude like tested yet against like a really, really good guy. I know Yanis Ghemmouri is not a really, really good guy. You never know. He's got power in his hands and in his feet. He's got a few knockout wins on the regional scene. He could catch Payton. 16-1 is absolutely crazy, but I get what they mean. Payton is pretty much better everywhere. He's got very good takedown defense. Really fast striking, really like flowy striking, if that's a good description for it. He is just going to be a lot better everywhere this fight goes. And Yanis isn't a grappler, he's a wrestler, he's more of a striker. Payton is too, and Payton's just much, much better. Minus 1,600 better? No. Freaking minus 400 better? 500 better? Yes. Yes, something around that range. But I do have him getting a TKO. Not in round number 1. I think he's going to get close. But I think he's going to start to flow a little bit more in that round number 2. Payton Talbott, second round, TKO. Charles Jourdain and Jean Silva in the featherweight division. I do have this fight going to a decision. And this one is, I'm looking at the card, very, very likely for fight of the night. The other one that could be Cub Swanson, Andrei Fili, which we'll get into. I don't think Michael Pagey and Machado Garry will be. Diego versus Brian could be, and I doubt Alex versus Yuri because that's going to be an early finish. So this fight here, Charles versus John, I do have going to a decision, and I am predicting a fight of the night here with this fight in the featherweight division. Both guys very, very young. John is only 1-0 in the UFC with the knockout win over Weston Wilson in his debut. Of course, Charles has had a tough road. Has faced some legit guys in the UFC. Andrei Fili, who's also on the card. Julian Erosa, Shane Burgos, Nathaniel Wood, as well as Sean Woodson recently, who some people thought he won that fight. It was really, really close, and Sean's about to be in the top 15 now, so a very impressive win there as well. I do expect this one to be very close. Another split decision, unfortunately, for my guy, Charles Jourdain. I do think Charles is going to land some good shots early on in this fight, but not as good of the shots as John Silva is going to land. I have John Silva winning round number 1. I have a little bit of a comeback from Charles Jourdain in round number 3, but I think round 2 is going to be that deciding round. And I think John Silva is going to crack Charles Jourdain with a big shot, not finish him, but I got him winning round 1, round 2. Very close striking match there in the featherweight division. Cub Swanson, Andrei Fili in the featherweight division. I am going to go Andrei Fili to win. I didn't think Cub Swanson won his last fight with Hakeem Dawood. I was very surprised on that one. Yes, Cub Swanson beat Darren Elkins 2.5 years ago. And then Daniel Pineda before that. Very, very nice. These are guys that are mainly jiu-jitsu practitioners, wrestling type of guys, Darren and Daniel Pineda. When he does go against a very good striker like Jonathan Martinez, like Giga Chikadze, and like Andrei Fili, Andrei is very legit on the feet. Unless he gets caught with a big one. That's exactly the scenario here. Either Cub catches him with a shot like he did against Daniel Pineda and knocks out Andrei Fili. We know Andrei can get knocked out for sure, as we saw against Joanderson Brito and as we saw against Dan Ige. So it was either a Cub Swanson knockout or an Andrei Fili decision, and I don't think he's going to get clipped. I think he's going to use that height, use that reach, stay at range, and I think Cub is going to look for that knockout. He won't get it. Andrei, close, 29-28 decision. Joe Pyfer and Marc-André Barriault in the middleweight division. I do expect a big comeback win for Joe Pyfer right here, and I do believe he's going to finish Marc-André Barriault. I know Mark had good wins over Jordan Wright, finished Julian Marquez, and then got a good win over Eric Anders. did lose to Chris Curtis recently by a decision, by a split decision, which is very, very surprising. But I will say, Chris Curtis isn't really the most powerful puncher in the middleweight division. He has some decent power, but I do expect this one to kind of be similar to the Chidi and Joe Kawani fight. I know that's the only time ever in his MMA career Marc-André Barriault has been finished. But I think if you really pressure Marc-André Barriault early, don't let him get in that groove and the cardio later on in the fight, you could possibly knock him out. I do think Joe is going to start swinging some haymakers here, and I think he catches the chin of Marc-André Barriault. I'm expecting a fast finish from Joe Pyfer in this fight. A good one at 185 pounds. Ian Garry and Michael Page in the welterweight division. 11-year age discrepancy here. Huge height differential. Just kidding. They're the exact same height, but a big reach advantage for Michael Venom Page. I'm going to be honest. I know a lot of people are slightly leaning Ian Machado Garry to win. I'm going dog. I'm going the dog. I don't know how. Wow. He's the favorite on Tapology. I didn't even know that. But I am going to go the underdog when it does come to the betting odds. I think Michael Venom Page is going to make this a striking fight. Duh. I don't think Ian's going to shoot any takedowns. I think this is going to be 3 rounds of pure kickboxing, Muay Thai, karate, whatever they're going to bring in there in the cage. And I do believe Ian is going to stay on the outside, try to land leg kicks. That's going to be his main game plan here because he's not going to land too many shots to the body, not going to land too many shots to the head of Michael Venom Page. I think Michael Venom Page obviously is going to have that darting in game plan of trying to land that 1-2 to the chin of Ian Machado, go to the body a few times, and stay at range and go in and out, in and out, in and out. Ian, obviously, like I said, is going to go for leg kicks. I think it's going to come down to what are the judges going to value more? Some leg kicks from Ian Machado Garry or some shots to the face from Michael Page. I'm going to go Michael Venom Page to win this fight, 29-28. Let's go split decision. There's going to be drama again here at welterweight. Michael Venom Page, put him against Usman next. Test that wrestling of Page and test just where Usman is at against an up-and-coming contender. Because, you know, Page doesn't have a lot of time left. He's 37 years old. He needs to get in there ASAP. And one more fight, Ian Usman to the belt. I do have Page by a decision. Mayra Bueno Silva, Macy Chiasson in the women's bantamweight division. Same age, just different by about a month, I believe. Height differential is insane. Reach differential is insane as well. Macy does have the advantage in both. She did beat Norma Lamont. I don't think she did. She did beat Penny Kianza. Good win. Got knocked out by Irene Aldana in a fight she was winning, and then got submitted by Raquel Pennington. I do personally believe Mayra is obviously going to be better on the ground, and this isn't a 5-rounder. Mayra was gassing out when it was round 3, round 4, round 5. I think she has the cardio to deal with the round 1, round 2. I think this one is going to come down to who wins the second round, like another fight on this card as well. I think Macy's going to have to try to stay at range and pick apart Mayra Bueno Silva. She's not going to be able to early while they're not sweaty. I think Mayra's going to land some takedowns in round 1. And in round number 2, out-grapple her, out-ground and pound her, and attempt a few submissions. And I think round 3, Macy's going to find her groove, be able to defend those takedowns, and outstrike Mayra Bueno Silva. And I think it's going to be a close 29-28 unanimous decision for Mayra Bueno Silva. Anthony Smith, Roman Dolidze in the light heavyweight division, not the middleweight division. And if you're wondering, yes, Roman has fought in the UFC's light heavyweight division in the past. He ended up making his UFC debut against Khadis Ibragimov at the light heavyweight division limit. I believe the fight after that was as well. Moved down to middleweight, lost, went on a streak that included the knockout win over Jack Hermanson, but of course, you know, lost to Marvin Vettori and then lost to Nasruddin Imavov. He is a hard guy to finish. He's never been finished. Has been close. I mean, Nasruddin was landing some pretty good shots on him. But I don't think Anthony Smith has what it takes to finish him, especially at this stage in his MMA career. He's not going to submit Roman. Roman's very good on the ground. And I don't really remember the last time that Anthony has gotten a submission win, or sorry, has gotten a knockout win over anybody in the UFC. So I am expecting Anthony Smith to win this fight, but I don't think he's going to get the finish. I think he's actually going to have the better wrestling, but I do believe Roman will be able to survive, maybe reverse a few of those submissions, make this fight mainly a grappling and wrestling fight. But I do think Anthony does have the advantage when it comes to that. Not enough to get the finish, but enough to get the decision. Anthony Smith by decision. Brian Ortega and Diego Lopes in the featherweight division. Diego is the favorite. A lot of people saying he's going to get the knockout win over Brian Ortega. I think not. I'm going to go the underdog, Brian Ortega, to grind out a unanimous decision. Here's why. I'm thinking back. I know he's obviously evolved. He's getting a lot better. We got to look at his last three losses. Joanderson Brito, 2021. Two and a half years ago, maybe a little bit more than that. He got taken down over and over and over and over and over and over and over. He was going for submissions on bottom, just wasn't able to get anything, and lost that one by a unanimous decision. Movsar Evloev got taken down. I know that was short notice, but he was taken down over and over and over and over, and he lost unanimous decision. I believe that if Brian Ortega stops with going for the submissions and just goes out there to get it to the floor, get top position, and just tries to keep it there, I think he wins this fight. I think Brian Ortega on top of Diego Lopes wins this fight. I think he controls it in the guard, in the half guard, maybe gets full mount, I don't know. And I do just believe he's going to have the better ground game overall than Diego Lopes. Not to mention, he's the faster puncher and he's the better striker when you don't take into account the power. Diego's obviously a lot bigger and he has a lot more power, but when it comes to striking skill, that does go towards Brian Ortega. So I think if Diego is able to land those big shots on the feet, he might be able to steal it. That would be the main argument, is if he's able to land those big shots. I don't think he will. I think Brian will eat them, land a few of his own, and get the fight to the ground where he will be on top and control them there himself. I am going underdog. I know it's going to be unpopular, but I got Brian Ortega by unanimous decision. Alex Pereira, Jiří Prochazka 2 in the light heavyweight division. I am going to go, this time I think it's going to be a lot more dire for Alex Pereira. First one, yeah, he may have lost round one, but I mean, Alex was tearing up the legs of Jiří early on into round number 1. Then he got taken down. Then Alex lost round 1. Okay, round 2, obviously he's able to get the elbows together and then knock out Jiří Prochazka. This fight, I think Jiří's going to be safer here. I think Jiří knows if he eats too many leg kicks at range, it's going to hurt him later on in the fight. So I do think Jiří is going to go in trying to get the takedown fast, as soon as possible. As soon as possible. And I think Jiří gets it in round number 1. And I think, like the first fight, he's going to be able to out-wrestle him, keep it on the ground, control it, and win round number 1. I think round number 2, we're going to be like, oh my god, it's the exact same story. Alex going to knock him out. Alex just, I think he's going to crack Jiří. And I think Yuri's going to grab onto the hips. Everyone's going to be like, oh no, he's going to elbow the side of his head again and knock him out. I think Jiří survives it, takes down Alex, controls him there. I think Yuri's going to be up 2-0. Going into round number 3. Round number 3, they're going to be a little bit more sweaty. I think Yuri's going to try the same thing. Go in for the takedown, and I think this is going to be the turning point where Alex defends. He circles off to the cage, gets Yuri's back to the cage, leg kicks him again. Hurts his leg one more time. Jiří wobbles a little bit forward due to the leg kicks, and I got Alex luring Jiří in there to go for another takedown because he's hurting his legs as he's going in, as he's luring him in. Boom, another left hook. I got Alex Pereira losing the first 2, knocking him out in the 3rd. Good fight, though. That is my full card prediction. UFC 303, Pereira Prochazka 2. Make sure to check the Patreon down below in the description or the pinned comment. We'll see you in the next one.